Yeah, we back. Yeah, we back. Now today's gonna be a quick video. We're gonna be talking about how in the modern era, currently right now, the white conservatives, they don't need the black conservatives anymore. I wanna talk about that. And I'm gonna use two individuals in particular, two black conservative talking head grifters in the media space, Brandon Tatum and somebody else who's on the come up by the name of something Tinashe Peter or whatever. And both of these guys are crashing out because I guess they realize that in the current climate, you are not needed. Your services are not needed. And they're also crashing out because I believe these guys are jealous of Nick Fuentes. And Nick Fuentes, on multiple occasions, has said himself that we don't need the black conservative talking head media grifters, right? You're just a token. You're just a sock puppet. You know, you carry water for us, right? You carry water. You sit in the back seat while we drive in the car. Nick Fuentes has said that on many occasions. So these guys, they crashing out because of that. So we're going to get into it. It's going to be an interesting video, man. Now, the first case study is this individual by the name of Peter Tinashe or Tinashe Peter, up and coming grifter on the scene, young rookie in the game, making a splash on the airwaves. I seen him crashing out the other night. Right now, before we get into that, let me just get you introduced to who this guy is, so we can get an idea of what we dealing with. Run the clip. I'll be right back.
Growing up as a black kid in a place like the Bay Area, I was brought up to believe that the most racist and hate-filled people were those who consider themselves as quote-unquote Republicans or conservatives, those who are on the right side of the aisle. I was raised in a place that was saturated with leftist, woke nonsense. I ran them streets. I did find myself at a certain point becoming one of those Wakanda, ashwagandha type of Negroes. Now I got to keep it all the way real with y'all. If I was a police officer and I stopped this individual here, I don't give a damn if it was for a traffic stop. You're going to jail. So today is October the 14th, 2025. And today would have been Charlie Kirk's 32nd birthday.
All right, we back. Now, like I said the other night, I seen a video of that same dude crashing out about Nick Fuentes. He says, listen, if Nick Fuentes is going to be the leader of the conservative movement, then I'm out. I don't want to be part of the movement. If Nick Fuentes is a part of the movement, at the forefront of the movement, things like that, right? So he started getting out of place. The black conservatives, the talking head grifters, they got to know their place. So he started getting out of place real quick, right? I'm going to play that clip. Right. And then I don't know. I think Nick Fuentes had an interview with Tucker Carlson the other day. I saw it went super viral. I didn't watch it, so I don't know what he said. Maybe he said we don't need the black conservative talking head DEI hires. Maybe he said something like that. I don't know. But anyway, play the clip. I'll be right back.
If these are the types of individuals that we have to click up with in the conservative movement, I'm good. No. I'm all the way good. See, the first and only reason I consider myself to be a conservative was because of the values that we hold. Therefore, when we start to compromise on those values by letting in a complete clown show, Exhibit A, Exhibit AA, I'm not even going to put them on B because they're the same. They're the same ilk. These two right here. Now, here's the thing. I do not believe in censorship unless it is self-censorship, personal censorship, which means I have the right to shut these clown shows up in my life. They don't have to shut up necessarily. They can continue to do whatever it is that they're doing out there in the old circus. But as far as I'm concerned, as far as me and mine, we serve the Lord. And neither of these have the Lord in them. I'm just going to tell y'all straight up. So let me get this straight. No pun intended. This right here, this is y'all leader, right? That's him? Okay. Now I'm going to ask this one more time because I really got to make sure I got the right guy. This is him. That's him, right? Okay. Now I promise y'all this is the last time I'm going to ask this question. This is him, right? That's him? Okay.
All right, we back. Now, as you can see, that guy was so soft that he said, listen, I don't believe in censorship. They can continue, disrespecting me, things like that, right? You feel so offended, but at the same time, you felt like they should be allowed to continue to disrespect you, knowing that if the shoe was on the other foot, they would make sure to put a muzzle on you. They would make sure to silence you. And if you were that much of a threat, they would make sure to assassinate you and eliminate you to make sure you could take no further action. But you such a coward. You such a little soft little boy, right? He said, listen, you're allowed to speak, but I have the right to shut you out of my life, right? You boys is soft. You carry water for them people. That's why you don't have the gall to stand up like a man and say, listen, nah, stop, shut that down right now. You can't do it. You can't do it because you carry water. You sit in the back seat, right? You hold the bags in the backpack and things like that and go get the water and the refreshments. That's your role in this so-called conservative movement, right? Now, those of us who already seen what it was from the beginning, we already knew what role you played. We already knew what it was, right? It was only you that was late to the party. It was only you that allegedly didn't see what was happening. And also something else, brother, because being a conservative, like I said, being a black conservative in a Western country, what you're going to have to conserve is the values and the interests of the dominant majority population, right? So that's why you carry water for them people. So that's why you don't understand why Nick Fuentes resonates so much and is so popular, because his ideas actually represent a decent chunk of the country. It's a lot of people that resonate with him, especially, the young folks. So you got to get accustomed to that. You got to get accustomed to that. In fact, I even made a video a couple months ago, entitled, take a look up on the screen, The Rise of White Nationalism. Now, I was speaking in terms of international geopolitics in that regard, but like I said, guys like Nick Fuentes, that is the political direction where things are headed, not only in the United States, but also in other countries as well. France, the UK, Germany, et cetera, right? A rise of white nationalism. So you're going to have to get used to guys like Nick Fuentes going into the future. You're going to have to get used to sitting in a back seat while guys like Nick Fuentes drive the car, right? So you crashing out on the internet. Oh, this the leader of the movement? Yes, that's the leader of the movement. Yeah, unfortunately, that's one of the leaders of the movement. That's one of the prominent figures of the movement. Yes, you are never going to be the leader of the movement. You're a black. Just logically speaking, if we live in a country where the majority of the population is white, even though that might not be the case in the foreseeable future, but in the current present time, the majority of the population is white and they are conservatives, which means they're trying to conserve the current situation and the current order of things. So yes, they would never put a black man at the head of the movement. You will never be a prominent figure. You will always be a bag carrier. You will always be a water fetcher. You'll always be a tap dancer. You'll always be the court jester, but you'll never be the leader of the movement. Now, like I always say, conservatism in the Western sense, if you live in the United States, if you live in France, if you live in the UK and you call yourself a conservative, you're going to have to fall in line with what the white man got going on. You're going to have to fall in line with what the white man talking about. Now, if you go to a black country where the majority population is black, right, then you could be a conservative and actually conserve the interests of the black population, naturally, because the dominant group in that region would be black, right? So conservatism looks different depending on the culture and the region and the location, right? All conservatism is not equal. When we talk about the conservatism in the United States, right, founded by European planters and white supremacists, that brand of conservatism is going to look a certain way versus the conservatism you might see in somewhere like Tanzania or somewhere like Senegal. It's going to look different, right? It's going to be influenced by different cultural factors, right? So like I said, man, you guys are bag carriers and it seems like you were the last one to get the memo. You were the last one to find out the news, right? Anyway, next case study, I want to talk about Brandon Tatum because that's another one that's been crashing out, especially because of Nick Fuentes. Right now, you know me, I'm not a fan of Nick Fuentes at all. We have nothing in common. I don't agree with him on pretty much anything that he says, but it's just simply entertaining to me to see these bag carriers crash out and realize that their services are no longer needed. But anyways, let's get into a case study of Brandon Tatum so we can get an idea of who he is before we go into, him crashing out and going back and forth with Nick Fuentes. Let's go.
How did I pay my loan off and you can't? Or
where you from?
Well, I'm from Texas, Fort Worth, Texas, Dunbar High School.
Fort Worth,
right
Texas.
in the hood and stop 6.
I want to maintain my race. What race? White people are not all the same. Some white people are Irish. Some white people are, they come from different places. Italians and Jews. And what are we talking about, bro? If you so shallow and silly that I want to maintain, you a Christian, bro. What are you talking about? You a Christian. Your earthly experience is of nothing. Your legacy is not the color of your skin. It's spiritual. Like God ain't looking at you being like, good job. You kept your race going. I want to maintain my race. What race?
Now I'm going to go into some videos of Nick Fuentes, because that's the reason why a lot of these guys mad, all these bag carriers and these water fetchers and these tap dancers and these booty clappers, right? That's why they really mad, because Nick Fuentes is basically saying that your services are no longer needed, right? You were necessary at a certain point in time, but currently right now, you know, get off the mic, right? You're a DEI hire. You're just a sock puppet mouthpiece to say things that, you know, previously we weren't able to say. But now, due to the political climate, due to the administration that is in office, we can now speak freely and express ourselves freely without the use of the black sock puppet. So anyways, I'm going to get into some Nick Fuentes clips, and you can see why a lot of these guys, these black conservative talking head grifters, a lot of them, that's why they mad. Run the clip. I'll be right back.
You are a diversity hire. You are a DEI hire. You pander. And I'm kind of done with all the Uncle Toms. In a way, I'm done with all the Uncle Toms. I'm done with Jason Whitlock. I'm done with Candace Owens. I'm done with all the Uncle Tom token blacks. Like, you're not that smart. You're not even that conservative. You built your career on a grift that is now dead. You were hired when diversity quotas were a thing. You were hired when white guilt is a thing. I don't feel white guilt. I never have. DEI is over. So now you're done. You need to be fired. Like, you're done. Brandon Tatum is an idiot. Hey, man, shit. Hey, man, Tucker, nigga, them some bitch-ass nigga. Hey, man. He's a fucking idiot. Brandon Tatum is an idiot. Dumbest person I've ever heard. He should get an education. Thank you, man. Yeah, dude, he's a coon. That is a straight-up coon.
Now, in recent times, you know, as you can see, Brandon Tatum has been, you know, taking some little jabs at Nick Fuentes. Like, for example, when he said this, what a racist weirdo, right? Now, like I said, man, Nick Fuentes disrespected him, said, listen, you're an idiot, one of the dumbest people I ever seen. He mocked you, he clowned you, right? And all you said was, oh, what a weirdo. What a race. Like, listen, these guys don't got the heart to really speak their mind and really, you know, stand upright like a man and really say what's on their chest. They don't got it, bro. They carry water, sit in the back seat. You know what I'm saying? Play your role, right? Understand your position, right? They know what it is. Then he said, look at this racist clown. This is why Charlie Kirk wouldn't take him seriously. His entire platform is what? Being a troll? He had zero value, just complaining. He claims to be a Christian, but he constantly talks like this. Right, so this guy always hiding behind the Christianity, like the other guy, right? These guys are trying to build some like alliance with these white supremacists based on religion and shared spirituality. Like, y'all got to stop doing that, bro. Like, you got to understand spirituality is also influenced by the culture of that nation, of that area, right? So it comes out. Same thing with conservatism. Just like how conservatism is expressed differently depending on the culture or the location. Same thing with the religion and the spirituality. You're trying to bond with these like white supremacist descendants of European planters, and you think, oh man, that's my family, that's my brother, because of some shared religion, right? So you guys are like bamboozled, and they don't feel that way. You know, obviously we can look at the history. They've never felt that way. But anyway, Brandon Tatum responded to him. Play the clip. I'll be right back.
What an idiot. I don't know how people think this dude is a normal person that they should platform other than kicking his butt verbally on a debate. Like, do you not have any intuition or wisdom? Do you not believe in God? These fake Christians like Nick Fuentes.
Now, as you can see, Brandon Tatum still trying to hide behind the religion, trying to use the Bible for protection. But you got to understand, obviously, they don't feel that way. And on top of that, one thing Nick Fuentes said that was interesting, he said, you guys are not even true conservatives. Now, besides the fact that I believe Brandon Tatum and even Candace Owens and probably others as well, for example, Candace Owens, she married to a white man. So that's the most obvious in terms of definitely not being a true conservative, I think, in the sense that Nick Fuentes was talking about, because you're not even in the business of conserving anything, to be real. You're just sitting around carrying water for other groups. And on top of that, you don't really have any true foundation or true values or beliefs, right? You're a grifter, so your beliefs change, your talking points change, your position changes depending on the scenario, depending on the subject or the suspect, right? Based on what the audience is going to react to. And that's another thing. When you look at the audience of these black conservative talking head grifters, they're not even talking to the black community. So how can you be a black conservative and you're conserving, I guess, the black community, but you're not even talking to your own community? When you look at the demographics of your audience, you're talking to a damn near fully white crowd. So how are you in the business of, You say you're a black conservative, but when you look at your audience and your demographics and the ones that actually tune into what you got to say, you're not even talking to your own people. You're talking to white folks, right? So that's the difference. That's the big difference, right? So when you look at Nick Fuentes, his demographics, right? When you look at Matt Walsh and all these other these white conservatives, they're actually talking to their own people. They're actually talking to their own community about what matters to them, right? See, when it comes to a channel like mine, for example, I'm actually talking to my own community. I'm actually talking to my own people about things that matter to us, right? The only difference is I'm not calling myself a black conservative or things like that. I'm not carrying water for some old white dudes, right? So at the end of the day, this is simply a result of the shifting political climate, the social climate, right? As people tend to move more conservative, more to the right, more hardline extremists in their conservative views, or just outright white supremacists. Guys like these, these black media talking head grifters, they're not really needed in the current ecosystem. Maybe 10 years ago, when you probably needed a black sock puppet to say certain things or get off and promote certain messages that you yourself were not able to say because you might be branded as a racist or a white supremacist. But now in the current climate where you can actually express certain views, openly and freely under the current administration, guys like these, you don't need the sock puppet anymore. You don't need the black mascot anymore. You don't need the black mouthpiece anymore because you can just say it yourself, right? They have their guys saying it outright, right? You have guys like Matt Walsh and Steven Crowder, man, 13% of the population, X amount of the crimes, right? Things like that. They couldn't just get that off like 10 years ago, right? They couldn't get it off 10 years ago. Now they can openly just spread the propaganda just openly with their face on the camera. And it's interesting because, for example, I saw somebody say this: Officer Brandon Tatum called Nick Fuentes a racist after spending 10 years saying racism doesn't exist, right? So like I said, man, you spent the last, several years carrying water saying racism doesn't exist. Stop looking at color. I paid off my loans. How come you didn't do it? Things like that, right? And now you talking about, Nick Fuentes is a racist and the other guy crashing out. Oh, this the leader of the movement. Like, listen, it sounds like a mix of jealousy. It sounds like a mix of rejection. You guys feel hurt because you felt like you were actually part of the movement for real. You actually felt like these people actually had love for you for real. And then you realize that, nope, guys like Nick Fuentes, Matt Walsh, Steven Crowder, they're at the forefront. They're the ones moving the needle, right? They're the ones that people are latching onto and resonated with. And they don't really need the black sock puppet, right? So get back in your place. He's sitting in the back, right? Get in the trunk. Maybe when the liberals get back in office, we can pull you out the trunk again and you can make yourself useful. But for right now, we don't need you. We don't need you. And this is a rude awakening. Now, for me, like I said, when I made my channel, I was targeting my own community, my own people. So I don't got to worry about the shifting, political climate or the social climate or things like that, because I am truly in the business of conserving my personal interests, right? So that's why I talk to my own community. I put out content for my own community. And that's why my community, they got my back, right? When it comes to you, unfortunately, they change like the wind because you are simply a mercenary on their payroll. They don't really see you as part of the family or part of the community for real. So it seems like to some of y'all, at least these two guys, Brandon Tatum and the other guy, it seems like this is a rude awakening for you, Hey, it is what it is. Something that we already knew, but I guess you were in denial until you could no longer deny it. Anyway, it's your boy Nevercard. That's Salim back in the Billy. Yes, indeed. Second single off the next project, The Spy and Bamako. Pin comment at the top. Subscribe to the Patreon, NTD1814, and I'm gone. Peace.
Feel like a see me, I feel like I'm Saudi or ran up on Yana in the middle of Bamako. Enemy line, they claiming he innocent. Don't do no talking, I gotta move militant. Don't do no talking, I hit him with facts. 1804, bringing it back. 1804 like I'm Mother Cap Henry. King with the vision, the crown never empty. Top of the mountain, my soldiers defend me. Ducking and dodging the foreign intelligence. Hitting my dance on the DGSE. Dodging they traps, still on my feet. Feeling impeccable, feel like I'm shining. Go to my neck and I'm flooded with diamonds. Go to my neck and I feel like a mess. Feel like a lion, I'm in the savannah. Feel like the king when I'm up in the jungle. Never defeated, I never been humble. Come out victorious every encounter. Money machine give me help when I count it. Money machine stack it up in a beat. Heart of a king and I ride for the team. Weight of the world got it stuck on my shoulders. Bet you can feel it, my heart getting colder. Yeah, gotta stay focused so when it's in shots, I gotta react. Cause I'm a target, I'm under attack. Grabbing a weapon, I tell her get back. Mission exposed, secrets unfold. Enemy try, but I'm still in control. Got your boy sitting in Bamako prison, hoping they wish we sending them home. Enemy know that we good under pressure. Been through the thunderous, turbulent storm. Shorty a diamond, I told her she pressure. Hop in a whip and I'm taking her home. Hop in a whip and I'm swerving, I'm smashed. Killing my enemies, one of my passion. Rocking this gold like we in bikini. Feel like the captain, I'm clutching a heater. Yeah, gotta stay focused so when it's in shots, I gotta react. Cause I'm a target, I'm under attack. Grabbing a weapon, I tell her get back. Mission exposed, secrets unfold. Enemy try, but I'm still in control. Got your boy sitting in Bamako prison, hoping and wishing we sending them home. Enemy know that we good under pressure. Been through the thunderous, turbulent storm. Shorty a diamond, I told her she precious. Hop in the whip and I'm taking her home. Hop in the whip and I'm swerving, I'm smashed. Killing my enemies, winning my passion. Rocking this gold like we in bikini. Feel like the captain, I'm clutching a heater.